Theo here from College Aid Pro. So today what we're going to do is walk through how to submit your loan counseling that you need to do before the first time that you actually take federal direct student loans as a student. You only need to do it once, and it's before the first time you're accepting and realizing these loans. So for a lot of students, it's before freshman year in college, but it might not be. So let's walk through what you need to do because you have to do this before loans can be dispersed to you as a student. So I'm going to share my screen. The first thing you need to do is log on to studentaid.gov. And you're going to get to this page. And then what you want to do is hover over loans and grants, and then go over to loan entrance counseling. And you want to click on that. And then it's going to take you to that page. If you're an undergraduate student, you're going to log into your account from here. So go ahead and take a minute. You're going to use your FSA ID and password and log in, and then follow the prompts to get completely logged into your account. Okay, so now you're all logged in. I'm going to be showing you this off of a demo, but you're going to be actually in your loan counseling. So I'm going to go into this and let's get started. So they're telling you it could take 20 to 30 minutes. I'm not going to take that long in this demo, but I'm going to kind of run you through how this works, okay? So there's some different things you're going to learn during the entrance counseling. So let's get started. I'm going to click here, and they're talking about what is the total cost of school. There's a thing called the cost of attendance, which is the total cost, and then there's direct and indirect costs. A lot of this is just information for you so you understand basically what you're getting into. So you can estimate your school's cost of attendance by going in here and clicking on a school. Hold on one second. And then it will give you, when you're in yours, you'll be able to enter a school name here and search and pick up that school. So it'll give you the exact cost of attendance. And that's important for you to understand. Doesn't mean that that's what you're borrowing, but that's this piece. So if you all throughout this, you just hit continue. So and they tell you you've completed this module. Now you go on to the next module. It's pretty simple. You just follow along, and up here, they tell you what they're going to go through in each module. There's sources of aid that you don't have to repay. So they're just going over that, different ways to pay for school that doesn't include loans. So once you've reviewed that, you just hit continue. Now, what is a loan? A loan has principal, a loan has interest, and then there's loan fees. There's loan origination fees. So you want to check out that information. And as you see, we're moving through the information up here. Then you learn the different types of student loans. There's federal loans, which is what you're doing the loan entrance counseling for. And then there's also private student loans. So you want to take a minute and read through those bullets so you understand. But you notice here at the bottom, we're going to focus on federal student loans for the remainder of this. They're sharing with you about private student loans, but now all the emphasis is going to be on the federal student loans. Okay, how do they work? You want to read through this. It's very important to understand, like I said earlier, what you're getting into. So you want to read through the different bullets here. And then there's also something called a master promissory note. So once you go through this counseling, you will actually be signing that. And that's, as it says here, a binding legal document that says you are responsible for this loan. So that's another piece of the puzzle, but you have to do this part first. Okay, different types of loans. There's a direct subsidized loan and a direct unsubsidized loan. So depending on what you're taking, you need to understand. You might not be taking both types. You might only be taking one. You might be taking both. Subsidized, the interest is covered. by the federal government until 6 months after graduation. Unsubsidized is a regular loan, and the interest starts accruing right away. And then they're going to tell you yours is going to look different because this is a demonstration that they haven't updated yet. For the 24-25 school year, the interest rate is 6.53. It is not 5.5%. So just keep that in mind. That has gone up, and it changes every year. And then they go through some good information, kind of what I just said about the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized. But take a few minutes to read through this, make sure you understand it. Now they're going to go over what are the maximum loan amounts that you can get with these federal direct loans. If you're a dependent student, which is the majority of students, here are your totals, okay? 5,500 freshman year, 65 sophomore year, and 7,500 each year, junior and senior year. And there are some situations where a student can get up to 31,000. Most students are getting 27,000 over 4 years. And then if you're an independent student, the numbers are higher. So review those based on what category you fall into or your child falls into. There's also another federal loan called a Parent Plus loan. And you want to read through this. If that's something that you as a family are considering taking as part of your college funding strategy, you want to check that out. And again, this interest rate is not the correct one for the 24-25 school year. The Parent Plus loan is 9.08%. So again, just like the direct federal loan, it has gone up. So it's 9.08%, not 8.05. And you will see that in your portal because it will be updated. As I said, they just haven't updated the demo yet. Okay, so then you need to know your steps. They go through the different steps for obtaining a federal student loan. Okay, so you've got to complete the FAFSA. That's the only way you're going to be awarded it. The financial aid office will offer it. You need to accept your offer in the college's portal. You need to do the counseling, which is what you're working on right now. And then you're going to sign your master promissory note. Okay, and then complete the annual student loan acknowledgement. And they recommend doing that each year, and then you'll receive your loan money. It might hit up as a credit on your bill from the college, a bursar bill, or in some cases, students actually will get some of those funds sent to them. It just depends on the situation. And then they go through that as well. So we'll hit continue. And then it talks about your roles and responsibilities in when you take these out. So take a minute, like I said, read through these questions about financial aid, about your loan servicer. The loan servicer is the entity that's holding the loan, and you will have one loan servicer. So if you take out these loans for 4 years, should have the same loan servicer. You can log into the account and see the different loans that you've realized. So they're just explaining that to you here. So now you've completed another module. So you can estimate your annual and total student loan debt. So this is where you can enter your information. It's a good idea. You put in the total amount that you might borrow. So say you're going to borrow the full 27,000, and that's over, well, no, you know what? You're going to borrow, let's just say you're going to borrow 5,000 a year. Oops, 5,000 a year over 4 years, calculate. So this gives you an idea, if that's all you're borrowing, the amount to borrow annually is that amount. So let's put a higher number because most of you are going to, let's multiply that by 10, and we'll go over 4 years and you calculate. So it tells you that the total amount you're borrowing and the amount you're borrowing annually. That's pretty simple math there. The difference between what you're offered and what you need. Let's read through this. Your school determines your financial aid offer, including the loan amount based on the cost of attendance and the other aid that you received, okay? You can borrow less than your school offers, and you can request more loan funds later if you need them. It's really important that you borrow what you need, because remember, if it's not a subsidized loan, you are paying interest on that. So just read through all of these pieces. There might be some things that are good learning for you and your family. Now they're going to talk about interest. All these loans will have interest, even if the interest is delayed. Once it's 6 months after graduation on a subsidized loan, then the interest is going to start accruing. So read over this good information about how interest works. It accrues daily in federal student loans, and how that's going to impact what you owe down the road. Okay. And they also introduced the concept of capitalization. A nice little short video that's really helpful. So take a few minutes and check that out. It won't take you very long. Okay. Consider paying interest while you're in school. Some students do this. Some families decide to do this. They talk you through this and they give you a scenario. If you pay interest while you're in school, then what you're going to owe is what's called the principal. If you take out 27,000 in a loan, but you pay off the interest, and in this case, the interest is a little bit over $5,500, when you start repayment, it's going to be 27,000 because you paid your interest. If you don't pay your interest, which people don't, not everybody does that, the lion's share of people don't, then you will have a balance to pay that has your original principal plus the interest. They're just explaining that to you. So you've completed another module. Let's go through, who do you pay? This is about how repayment starts. So as I mentioned earlier, you're going to have a loan servicer, and they talk about a few of them here. You'll get familiar with your loan servicer. You'll have a username and password to log in and check out your loans throughout the time that you're in college. It's a good idea to look at your repayment. They call it a burden, and responsibilities. Like, is it affordable, right? And they give you a nice little calculator here where you can plug in what you think your loan balance is going to be, your estimated gross salary, and then they're going to figure out for you what your monthly income is. And they're going to know what your monthly payment is as well. And they're going to show you, is this in the green, or is it potentially unaffordable, or is it in the red, like really unaffordable? And this is a good practice to go through, because you don't want to get buried in too much debt. So it's this part of this module is very important. Choose the right repayment plan. You don't need to worry about this right now. They're just going through the different types of repayment plans. You can read through it. You will need that when you get toward the end, but you just realize that there are different ways to repay your loan, and they show them here. Standard, there's a graduated repayment, and then something called pay as you earn. So those are just, they're just giving you information for down the road. They're basically telling you need to repay your loans. You want to go into taking student loans realizing that you're going to have to repay them. You don't want to go into this thinking, there might be loan forgiveness. That's not a responsible way to look at this. You want to make sure that when you're taking on debt, you're going to be able to repay it, or you as a family will be able to take care of the cost of repaying the loan in a timely fashion. Okay, now let's move on to the next module. What happens if you miss a payment? There's two things. One's called delinquency and one's called default. So delinquency is if you miss a payment, if you pay more than 30 days after the due date. It's a late payment, basically, is what delinquency is. Default is when you haven't made a payment for at least 270 days, and then it will affect your credit adversely. It's not a good thing. So that's the reason to plan ahead and don't set yourself up for failure and being able to repay your loan. So they're getting out in front of it, helping you understand, like, what happens if you default. it's really not good for your financial life, right? So you want to avoid this at all costs. So be smart on the front end, how to prevent and avoid delinquency and default. There's different ways to do that. Again, this is a bit of information that's coming a little early. We're not going to project that you're going to default, just good things to quickly read through. And hopefully you will not need this down the road, but they're sharing it with you proactively at the beginning. Then there's also some programs they're pointing out about if you're going to study to be a teacher, there could be teacher loan forgiveness. If you're going to go into certain careers in public service, there's loan forgiveness. And then a few other, if you have, God forbid, a death or a total or permanent disability, or, this closed school false certification. Hopefully none of this you will have to deal with, but the first two are dependent on what you end up going to do as a career. The other ones, are just, life happens. So they're different, as they said at the beginning here, different information about the loan forgiveness, cancellation, and discharge of the loan in certain circumstances. This is for federal loans only. Okay, as we go forward here. So now they're giving you a summary of what you learned. They're going through all of this. You can hit continue. If you hit the other arrow, it would have let you go through each module. So now I've completed the demonstration, but when you're done, it will tell you you've completed your entrance counseling. The next step is going to be to sign your master promissory note. So stay tuned for a video on that.